Welcome to another episode of Anabaptist Perspectives. We're here today with Angelica Aragon from Mexico City. She left the Southern Baptist Church and joined the Anabaptist, and she'll tell us about her story today. So Angelica, tell us a little about your life before joining a Christian community.
I was born in a Southern Baptist church, and my mom and dad were very involved in discipleship and kids club. So when I grew up already in an environment that helped me to understand some Christian concepts. However, as I grew up, I have a duality of life. One time I lived in the church and I was a very angelic person, but in the other side, I was a very mischievous person. So it was an interesting feeling of having this dual life. So as I grew up, as part of the ministry of my mom and dad, I was involved in their ministry. I was helping them in kids club and discipleship. However, there was something missing in my life. There was something that was not real alive. When I was 4 years old, I did salvation prayer because I was scared of a storm. And I remember being baptized, but I just remember barely some snapshots of what happened. But my entire life did not have that concept or did not understood what was I doing. So my mom often will tell to me, Angelica, what am I going to do when you turn into a teenager? Because if you're that way right now, I wonder what is going to happen with you. And I feel sad about it, but it seems that there was nothing I could do to change it. As I grew up also, I saw a lot of irregularities in our church. I saw that people that were poor were treated unfair. Or people that were in leadership, sometimes they will fight with each other in order to get more money or power. So I couldn't make myself understand Christianity. So when I was in 5th grade, my mom and dad discovered high school. And that's one of my first meetings with Anabaptist people. I opened my book of high school, and I saw a very interesting picture of a lady, very dressed modestly, with a beautiful dress and a head covering. And one of my first questions was, Mom, what is this? And my mom had no clue. So one of the things that she did was, don't worry about it. Let's just focus in your studies. And if you like to see these girls, that's okay. They have very nice dress, but don't ask too many questions because I really don't know. So I start wondering. The next thing that it was very life-changing in my life was when I have 2 courses. The first one was a course of critical thinking that makes you think about the way you process information, why you think the way you think, and to analyze your worldview. And the second one was a philosophy course. That philosophy course was very crucial in my life because it made me think, it made me understand that humanity from the very beginnings have been asking about who God is and what is our purpose here in earth. So when I was studying, I had a lot of friends that were not Christians. And they suggest me, well, Angelica, you are turning 15. It's about time that you get an idea of what you want of your life. And I did. I wanted to be a professional cellist. And I was studying in the Conservatory of Music, and I wanted to be a doctor. So my friends told me, go for it. And I did. I really worked hard, and it was a lot of fun. But I was surrounding myself with non-Christian friends. And they would challenge me with questions like, why does the Southern Baptist do this? Or why I know a Southern Baptist or I know an Evangelical and he is a drug seller. And that will hurt my heart. I could not understand Why, if we were following Jesus Christ that's supposed to die in the cross and make us live a new life, why was this happening? So I decided that I was not going to be a Christian anymore. And I decided that I was going to go into a journey of searching for the truth. So I went and I studied Buddhism, and then Muslim, and then all sources of things. And I did it for about a year. However, I did not feel happy. I felt empty. And I remember sitting in the floor one time studying theory of music. And one of my friends, she was a Buddhist philosophical. She sit down and say, Angelica, you just look horrible. Say, this research that you are doing is not doing good. Say, why you don't go and read the Bible? And just study it and go without any commentary and just see if that fits you.
That's interesting she suggested that to you.
Yes, and that was the opening for me to the Anabaptist and to really know who Jesus Christ was. I start with Genesis, then go to 1st of Samuel, and from 1st of Samuel all the way to 2nd of Chronicles, it was great. I saw the mercy of God. I saw evil people finding the way to serve God, and God calling them to obey them. And that was a life-changing for me. Then I went on, and then I went to Matthew 5. And that was incredible. You read it and say, blessed are the poor of spirit. And then you just blew up. I mean, it's so simple. It doesn't require a lot of theology. It doesn't require a lot of knowledge. It's so simple. I start obeying every beatitude that the Lord said. And that's when my life started changing. I started noticing that TV was not helping me. So I decided to quit watching the TV. And that is when the persecution started coming. My family was not happy about me leaving the TV. So they disagree with me, and they tried to make me watch movies and invite me to family time just watching the TV. Then I read 1st of Timothy, where it says about that modest dress. And that was huge for me because I love pants. It was my favorite thing to dress. But it was clear for me that the Lord was calling me to something higher. So I went to my dresser. And then I started seeing my pants. And it was not glorifying God. It was not shamefacedness, as in the Bible says. It was shameless. They were really tight. I was back in my dresser, and I put all my pants to the trash can. By the way, I just have 2 dresses in the whole place. So I alternate one day and one day until I found new dresses. My mom just looked at me, and she could not comprehend what was happening. But she knew that there was something coming, and she was not sure if it was the right thing. Then I went to Peter, and Peter said, no gold, no silver. And it's as easy as no gold and no silver, but dress yourself with the things that are from beyond that. And for me, it was so clear. I took all my gold then, and I wanted to sell it to the poor and give it to the poor. But my family just looked at me and said, no, wait. You are a teenager. Maybe this is a hormone problem. Let's put it aside. And I agree with that. Then I went to 1st of Corinthians 11. And then I wonder, so why is the Lord saying that the ladies should cover their heads? And I was wondering, but I could not understand that verse. So I decided to look for the early Christian teachings. What did the early Christian teach in that time? So what I did is, So when I went on internet, I found several Anabaptist books. And I started with one. I started reading The World Upside Down from David Berceau. And what I was reading, it was like I was living, that book was living with me. It made plain clear I was doing the right thing, obeying the Beatitudes, obeying the words of Jesus, just as they were. And they showed me some new words, like the word Mennonite or the word Amish. And I started getting curious about it. I started remembering that the books books I used in high school, they used the name Mennonite. So I started researching more. So where does the Mennonite come from? So I started into Anabaptist history. And when I was reading Anabaptist history, I started with Conrad Grebel and then Felix Manz, and I saw people following Jesus Christ from scratch. And my skin was like, this is new, I want this. Where can I find people like them? And then I went to the next book, and the next book was a life-changing experience. It was the book of Peter Hoover, The Secret of the Strength, and that was a turning point. There was community, people living Acts 2, where people get together, and as a consequence of the love that they have for Jesus Christ, they can give their lives for others. And I decided I wanted to experience that because I was feeling lonely. By that time, I also had a lot of peer pressure of my friends and family. My family did not understand what I was doing. My dad, for a while, he did not talk to me. He wanted to pull me out of the house. And it was really sad for me to know what to do or how to act with them. However, I pray, and I pray and say, Lord, I'm going to give my family to you, you will give it back to me. And it was there. My family started having a revival. They started reading the Bible. They started changing. My family, even my mom started dressing the same way I was dressing. And we all were reading the Bible as a family. That hadn't happened since I was 5 years old. Everything was new for all of us. Then after that, I continued pressing on. And then I have a lot of problems with my friends. My friends thought I was converting into non. And for me, it was hard to explain the difference between non and Christian. But I told them, I'm just following Jesus Christ's words. They accepted, but then my instrument teachers, they could not comprehend what I was doing. You see, when you do music, you usually do a show. And this type of dress is not very fit for a show. So I got very lonely, and then I researched and found Elmendorf Christian Community on the internet. I joined Facebook, and I go and click to people that were Anabaptist, you know. I tried to look the head coverings and try to look to the lady and see if they were really nice. And I clicked for friendship. But this came out of my thirst to know Anabaptist people. And there were several ladies from the church that I'm part of that they start contacting me. And for 2 years, we exchanged letters. And their letters were fascinating for me because they were about the Bible, they were about what Jesus said, they were about how things they were doing in the church and how they approach Christian community. The teachers of the music school were not happy about the things that I was doing. So they asked me to leave the school. Then I tried to do other careers like international business, but it was the same. They told me to reconsider, and it seemed that I was not fitting anywhere. So I remember coming to my house and deciding, what should I do? I pray, and I received an email of invitation coming to my church community. I bought the ticket. It was in a few days. I went there and I was shocked. I saw 20 ladies with the dress that I saw when I was in high school, you know, in these books. And I saw them with head coverings. And for them, it was not a matter of what I should do, but what I do.
Uh-huh.
And also, I saw them working in the garden. They work together in the garden and they work together in the kitchen. So one of my first questions is, what do you do when you have problems with each other?
It's a good question.
It is a good question. And they look at me and just laugh and say, well, we usually pray.
That's a good answer.
It is a good answer. But what it struck me is that they refer me to the Bible and say, well, the Bible said that if you have a problem with one of your brothers, you should not wait until the sun lays. Mm-hmm. You should go and talk to your sister or brother and try to manage and see the way to resolve the problem. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I wonder how that looks in practice. Mm-hmm. And while I was living there, I did have a problem with one of the ladies. And I was so amazed that that lady will come right after supper and say, well, Angelica, I think we need to talk. Mm-hmm. And it was a very minor problem. But we have a very nice conversation and we try to resolve it. And then we pray about it. And that was really nice to see that you can actually take the words in the Bible and put it into practice. Mm-hmm. And not just that, but they will love each other. They will help each other. That was really amazing.
So tell us a little bit about transitioning from the Baptist church into a Christian community. What were some of the challenges of that, and what was the same and what was different?
Well, most of the challenges that I have living in a community or being in an Anabaptist church is that I have a lot of theology in my mind. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to practice, that is really hard for me because I can have the perfect ideal of how should it look. But then when I want to put it into practice, Anabaptists are way better. So yeah, that will be one of my first big challenges. So one of the most challenging things is not having an individualistic point of view, but sharing my life with others. Mm-hmm. And being intentional about it. Knowing that my brothers and sisters are there for me when I need it. And that I also need to go and give my life for them. That is one of when I think about it, and I realize the 2 commandments of Jesus Christ, love your God with all your might, and then it says, love your neighbor as thyself. That's what is talking. That is the consequences of obeying those commandments. And that you can have such a great theology, but if you don't practice it, then it's not worthwhile living. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I did have a problem, it was regarding traditions. Mm-hmm. Anabaptists have a very strong traditions that they have developed over the years. Mm-hmm. And those traditions had been, from an outsider, sometimes are hard to understand. However, if you see that you are there for your brothers and that you love them, those traditions actually and those challenges that you have, if you see it through the light of Jesus Christ, through the love of Jesus Christ, become very minor. Mm-hmm.
So the majority of Anabaptists would be more white European background. And so you're a Hispanic from Mexico City. So I know sometimes it can be hard as a different ethnic group to come into such a majority. So what was that like for you?
You know, one of the things that helped me to commit to the church that I'm committing is that I did not feel that difference. I felt treated in the same level. Most of the things that they told me in Mexico is, you will see, once you get there, They are very racist. They will not accept you. They will not like you. You will have a lot of troubles. You will be not very important, or they will not put you in leadership. However, when I went to my community, it was totally different. It was about the kingdom of God. Mm-hmm. It was about which gifts do you have and what we can do with you, mm-hmm. and what are you good at. I never felt a difference because of my skin of color, mm-hmm. Or my nationality. I feel more like we like Mexicans and we wish we could have your skin of color. We are too pale. Mm-hmm. And it was more about, okay, so what can we do with you?
That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Angelica. I connected with a lot of what you were talking about and really appreciated hearing what you had to say, and just the encouragement as well as the challenges that we have as Anabaptists. And that's just great that you found a way to Jesus through that. So what are your future plans now?
Well, one of my future plans is I love the people that are in a different culture. Mm-hmm. So one of my ideas is I want to share what Anabaptists have shared with me. I am very intentional in my Christian life, and one of my intentional is that I'm a passionate lover. I want to be a passionate lover, and I want to love people from other countries. I want to love people that had never heard the good news of salvation. And I want to go to Spain as a missionary, mm-hmm. to share that love that Jesus has poured in me so I could give to others. That's
great. And you leave this fall, right?
Yes.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Angelica. Well, that wraps up another episode of Anabaptist Perspectives. If you liked what you heard and saw, then you can find us on our website as well for more episodes at anabaptistperspectives.org. Thanks for joining us.